All right, welcome everyone to our second conference call. Your first one was with your country director, and we had about 8 volunteers that were on the call just talking about a day in the life. Again, my name is Najma Bawa, and I'm your country desk officer. I've had a really great honor actually working with all of you and trying to get you all prepared. I know the process has been a little gruesome and a little long, but I really do appreciate your patience and really trying to get all of your tasks completed on a timely manner. Today on the call, we have Xavier Lewis, who's your program manager, and he's going to walk you through basically what your 2 years are going to look like. He is going to be your boss, and so it's a great start to kind of build a relationship and understand what it will be like working with him in Madagascar. If you have any questions, please feel free to type them in the chat box. He'll probably present around for about 30 minutes, and then towards the end, we'll also have Q&A. Please remember to mute your mics so that we can have good quality as we have this conference call. But if you have any questions throughout it, please feel free to type it in the chat box. And welcome to the call. Xavier?
Yes.
All right, it's all yours.
Okay. First of all, my name is, like Najima said, my name is Xavier Louis. I go by Xavier, actually, which is a little bit difficult for you guys to pronounce. It's a Spanish name, Javier, and I'm in charge of the education sector back here in Madagascar. I've been around for about 24 years now. So I'm looking really forward to listening to your questions, and keep in mind that there's no silly question. Sometimes answers are. Okay? Hello?
Oh, Xavier, can you first talk about a little bit what a day would look like for the education volunteers? And
Okay,
and then
for
also you can talk about PST, pre-service training.
okay, I'd like to start with PST. PST, it's mainly to get trainees ready for the job, and we have what we call core subjects. Those are subjects that will help you manage your own life in Madagascar. Those include safety and security, personal health, and other things like communication, being able to live at your site without too many amenities. And we have cross-culture and languages. Cross-culture, of course, it's about how you can make the two cultures meet so that you can navigate easily inside your community. And also languages. We'll start with the standard Malagasy. That's the Malagasy that almost everyone in country understands. Then we'll split you into dialect groups depending on where you're going to be stationed. So you'll be learning regional dialects. And last but not least, you'll have also, of course, technical, which is about the job itself. That's teaching English to non-native speakers. That's English as a foreign language, not as a second language. I'm not, I hope I'm not sounding very scary, so we are going to teach people who've never been exposed to the language. That's not true, but it can be challenging at times, but that's one of the purposes of the pre-service training, is to get you ready to manage the teaching environment in Madagascar. And about like a typical day as a Peace Corps, an education volunteer in Madagascar, depending on the days of the week, you start usually around 6:30 in the morning. It's not every day though. Most of you probably remember what you read about the job. You are supposed to teach about 14 hours. That's 14 hours a week. So each volunteer will be teaching about 3 days a week, and you'll be working with fellow teachers to set up your own schedule. There's enough freedom to decide, but sometimes you have to negotiate with your fellow teachers about your own schedule. And you are the only one who will be managing your classes. No one will be there to control you. Of course, Peace Corps staff will be around to monitor your progress, but we won't be physically present at each site to see what's going on. It's the same for your school administrators. They are there to give you the support you need, but they won't be around to sit at your classes and to check what you'll be doing. So it will be your own show, actually. And you'll be using the national curriculum, which is not very helpful at some point, but as a native speaker, you have a lot of room for creativity. So I'm gonna stop there to allow people to ask questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Zabe.
Mm. Okay, I see there's already one question. You are not going to take all the subjects every day. Before you visit your site, after 4 or 5 weeks at PST, at the training center, we'll be focusing more on the core subjects like medical, safety and security, but we will be starting technical subjects in the afternoons. In the morning, it's mainly languages, cross-culture, and almost every Thursday, that's medical, safety, and security. And even for languages and cross-culture, you are not gonna do that every morning. You'll be, those will be alternating. But almost every afternoon, you'll have TEFL sessions. And then after the site visits, we'll be focusing more on the technical aspect of the job. It's more TEFL. And to respond, there's another question here. I'm wondering about the different levels of students' experience in English. How much exposure have had to English class, or Um, the level of exposure varies a lot. Some students have been exposed to English for about 6 years, but some have been exposed for only few months. It depends on which levels you'll be teaching. Okay, another question is how many sites are there?
Looks as though two people are typing. Okay.
When someone types up a text, shall I respond in writing or
Oh no, you can
talking?
yeah,
Talking
you
is
can
fine.
yeah, talking is fine because it's
Uh-huh.
recorded. So you can
Okay.
actually
Okay. How are we placed into our sites? A good question. First, we'll give the trainees like a packet of all, giving the basic information on each site. So they have 1 week to give us their wishes, and then we'll decide accordingly. Of course, medical requirements overrule everything, every decision about site placement.
great. Thank you. Mallory is asking how are we placed into our sites. So Mallory, are you talking about like after PST, the transportation you take to get to your sites? Zave, if you want to just talk about no more about in terms of how your sites determined.
No
Zave,
more how
can you
out.
speak?
Yes.
No.
No, actually, a trainee doesn't get placed to a site depending on his or her performance at PST. It's more about how the trainee fits into the realities at sites. For example, uh, there are sites. I know this is sometimes this is challenging to people to understand, but there are sites where we have to place like a male person for some reasons. It's not because of safety and security. The level of safety and security, it's going to be the same for everyone. We are not going to select a site, a site where safety and security are going to be an issue. For instance, like if a trainee feels more comfortable working with middle school students, we will be trying to assign that trainee to a site where there's a middle school, not a high school.
Great. And Zave, do you use their aspiration statement and their resumes as well to support
Uh,
your decision on where you place?
No, not really.
Okay.
We tend, yes, no, no, no.
All right, we have another
Will we,
question.
yes, will we have another volunteer at our site as well? Not necessarily, but we in Madagascar for, I would say for, to try to preserve your mental health, we try to create clusters. There are many sites where you have a site mate, someone who is from another sector. It can be health or environment, but it's very rare to have two education persons at one site, unless they are a married couple.
Great, thank you.
I hope everyone understands my English.
We do, Xavier.
Okay, thank you.
Looks like we have two more people
Hmm.
typing. But I wanted, as we wait for another question to come, Xavier, I wanted to ask you about the modules that they will have to be that the volunteers will have to complete throughout their service
Okay,
for the
through
TEFL
uh,
certification.
yeah, for the TEFL certification,
Hmm.
um, you have, if I'm not wrong, I need to check again, about 40 modules, but you'll have enough time. I mean, we'll give you enough heads up to complete those modules, and those will be done online most of the time. And of course, there are other assignments you have to complete. And of course, we'll be monitoring your progress, and we'll be making what we call technical visits to your site. And each PCV is supposed to be observed um, two times during his or her 2 years of service. It's what we call teaching proficiency index classroom observation. And it will be done by the four of us back here. And once again, the ultimate goal is to help you grow, to help you complete your service. It's not to control you or to police you.
Thank you.
Mhm. And it's like the Olympic game. The most important thing is participation.
Hmm.
Uh-huh.
Great. So we have another
Yes.
question from Jesus. He's asking, would you say the culture is welcoming to Americans?
Definitely, if Peace Corps has been able to stick around for more than 20 years now, it's because the country is so welcoming. And of course, we cannot generalize, but the sites that are selected for your group, I mean, among the selection criteria is, of course, hospitality. How welcoming the people are at those sites. And that can, I mean, make a PCV, that can put a PCV in a delicate position, because you'll be seen right at the beginning as a superstar. So if at some point um, I mean, and it's normal. You are going to experience some lows, some highs, but at some point, if you are going through some lows, of course, people sometimes they ask questions, but that's life. I mean, everywhere in this world, I mean, people are going through uh, good times, great times, and some challenging times.
Yeah,
Mhm.
great. We have another question about technical training. Is it included? Will part of the technical training include training on potential secondary projects?
Yes, but not at PST. Secondary projects, training on secondary projects, what we call project design and management, PDM, that will be done at IST, your in-service training. That's when you come back to the cradle after spending 3 months at your site. It's where we're gonna teach you how to design a project with your community, because the community members should be part of the game, and how to look for funding. Actually, there are already a few funding sources that are available to PCVs, but during PST, we'll be focusing on safety and security, medical, cross-culture, languages, and TEFL. Excuse me.
Thank you, Xavier. We're waiting for.
No problem.
Actually, I do have one question from Jennifer, who was unable to make the call. Um,
Yes.
but you can go ahead and answer Jesus's question.
To communicate with families, Wi-Fi easily accessible in all sites to communicate. Um, Wi-Fi, it's not necessarily easily accessible, but for education sites, that again among the selection criteria, we select sites where we have what we call a 2G connection. That's the minimum you can have. It's not fast, but at least you can get email messages or send out email messages. But like downloading hefty materials might be challenging. Of course, I would say 60% of the sites have a pretty good communication, I mean connection. Hey, Naj.
Yes, I am here.
Yeah, you
Yes,
said someone was
have
typing and she didn't have access to
yes,
the Skype platform. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
she was unable to attend the conference call, and so she
Okay.
had emailed me a couple questions. I am looking it up right now. Give me one second. But I think it
Mhm.
looks like Kim is typing a question now.
Yeah. Yes, of course you can write letters to family, but the local post office system is not known for being very fast. But at each education site, you'll be able to easily send like texts to your family back in the US. Of course, it's gonna be more expensive compared to sending SMSs locally, but you can even talk to your family back in the US or everywhere in this part of the world.
Something that I would like to add is that a lot of volunteers do use WhatsApp, and so it seems to be a very good, reliable platform to like send text to your family and
Yes,
friends.
yes.
So that you may want to download that perhaps if you already don't have it on a smartphone that you intend on
Very
bringing to you.
reliable, yes.
hmm
Uh-huh.
So,
And that saved, yeah, that made our job very easy when a cyclone, a storm
mhm,
struck a month ago in country. WhatsApp was the best option.
yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Something that I also would like to add that I kind of received a lot of emails about was in regards to when you first arrive in country for PST, you will not. It'll take about 2 to 3 weeks. Correct me if I'm wrong, Xavier, before the
Yes,
trainees get a phone. Correct. So I would
yes,
start
that's
telling your
right.
friends and family. You will receive a family letter also in the next couple of weeks, but please start notifying your family and friends that they will not be able to contact you for at least a good 2 to 3 weeks before you get, set up a Madagascar phone number and get your phones all situated. So just kind of start putting certain setting the expectation for them, so they understand that they will not be able to contact you immediately once you arrive. However, once you
Mhm.
do get there, the staff in Madagascar will send me a lovely picture from right when you get off the plane, and I will send that to your friends and family, so that they are aware that you made it safely. But
Mhm.
please keep in mind that you won't have access for the first 2 to 3 weeks once you get in country.
Mhm. Okay, there's another question. There's a question about the storms and cyclones. You cannot predict it. It's, as you know, it's like a natural phenomenon. So usually, there are years when you have milder storms, so those are not gonna affect our lives back here. But every year the average is two storms. And another question about bringing your personal smartphone. That's okay, but keep in mind, phones that work in the US might not work in Madagascar. So you need to be very careful. But after 3 weeks at PST, we'll be giving you a cell phone that works in Madagascar. Of course, we'll deduct the cost from your weekly stipends here. Those are going to be very cheap cell phones, but hopefully very convenient to have.
Something that that I would like to add about bringing a smartphone, especially if it's an iPhone, please be sure that it's unlocked, and you get that
Yes,
all situated before you leave, because trying to do that in country is a little bit difficult. So you may want to
it's,
contact
yeah,
your network
almost
and try and
impossible.
make sure that your
Yeah.
phone is unlocked. Um,
Hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Xavier, can you, in regards to talking about storms and cyclones, can you just talk briefly about the emergency action plan? in regards to each volunteer has a site in which if something was to happen, that's where they go. You don't have to go too deep into it, just so that they have an
Yeah.
idea that the
Uh-huh.
country has a plan in cases of
Yeah.
emergency.
Yeah. Thank you for reminding me. Of course, each Peace Corps post around the world has what is called an emergency action plan. It's not just for natural disaster events, but it can be like if the country goes through a difficult time, like a political crisis, something like that. We have the emergency action plan is set so that we can first reach each PCV in less than 24 hours. And we have what we call consolidation points where PCVs in a cluster can easily get to that point, like for a safe haven. And we also have a system where at each consolidation point we have a PCV warden. It's a more seasoned PCV who can reach out to the PCVs around him or around her in case of an emergency. And we haven't known any situation where we were not able to reach a PCV in a timely fashion. During one of those difficult times we went through before. Of course, our priority is your safety first. Even if we have to sacrifice the Malagasy staff, safety and security, that's our priority.
Great. Thank you, Xavier.
Okay.
So one question that I did get from an invitee was about bringing textbooks or additional English resources to help aid whatever they will receive at their site. So do you suggest bringing dictionaries or any English books they may already have in their own personal collection? Um,
It depends, and you need to think about the amount of luggage you are allowed to take with you. That's one thing, but it will be not smarter. That's too much, but it will be wiser to wait until you get here, and then you can assess what you need. But we have a good amount of electronic materials that we can give to each PCV. Those are like PDF files. We have lots of grammar materials and something I would recommend though, because it's not too difficult to bring if they can, are audio or video files they can bring to make their classes more attractive, interactive to students.
Great, thank you.
But bringing hard copies can be very challenging.
That's true. Yeah, you all
Yes.
only have
Yeah.
can bring
Uh-huh.
100 pounds worth of luggage, 2 bags, 50
Yes.
pounds each. So
Uh-huh.
yes, that is
Uh-huh.
something that you definitely want to keep in mind as you
Hmm.
pack.
Hmm. Yes. What sort of video files or audio files would you recommend? Okay, any files, uh, that will help you teach English. It's about conversation, simple conversation, everyday conversations. That's going to be very appreciated by students. And you can even bring songs. I mean, the latest stuff by, I don't know, Beyonce or who else? Yeah, please don't hesitate to bring those. Yes. Or if, and of course, conversation, dialogues, everyday materials, not old materials or very academic materials. Those are not as interesting as like everyday conversation materials.
So we have another question about Melanie is asking, will we be able to print out,
Printing,
yeah, printing materials at site?
that can be very challenging. You can print, but you have to go to a cyber cafe um, where you can print materials, but it can be very expensive. And do they listen to American pop culture? Oh, yes. And many people don't even believe that Michael Jackson is dead.
They don't? I didn't know that, Xavier.
Yeah.
Uh, I love it.
And they, of course, people love like basketball back here in Madagascar.
Oh, yeah.
Basketball, volleyball. I mean, your high school students, they know all those American basketball stars.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Kim Burnbeck says, Michael Jackson lives. Yes, he does. Great.
Mhm.
Keep your
The
questions
PDFs,
coming. Oh,
the
go ahead.
PDFs you were referring to. Okay, we have PDF files. I mean, on grammar and some about writing, uh, like how to write simple dialogues. Okay, being able to Skype with your classes, it depends on of course, on the um, connection at your site. There are sites where it's very easy to Skype, but I would not really commit to telling people, okay, it's very easy, but there are sites, depending on, once again, on communication. Um, People can Skype to their, I mean, with your classes, because I know PCVs who Skype with their family members, friends back in the US.
Great. Jesus is wondering, do they play board games?
I mean, not many people play that. Even chess, that's only, I mean, in larger cities, but at most sites, no. Like I know personally, like Jouvin, who is the head of the cross-culture department at the training center, he plays chess.
That's great. Kim is asking about can she get access online with items at home, such as her bank account? Does it depend on the site location? And would it
Uh,
require a trip to a cyber cafe?
okay. It depends on the internet connection, but also each PCV is given an opportunity every month to travel to a banking town. But most sites are at the same time a banking town. So if you are stationed at a smaller site, you'll have the chance to go to do banking at a banking town where connection is pretty good.
And I can speak a little bit about that. Like during my service in Kenya, it was easy to get, go online, and check websites
Yes.
or things like that. So
Uh-huh.
like you are disconnected, but you're still connected in a way. Technology is
Yeah,
actually
that's
pretty more advanced than you think it is than it
Yes,
is.
it
yeah, that's right. That's right.
has
Actually,
Mariana, were you trying to say something?
Yes, I'm sorry to interrupt. I want to chime in because I think this ties in to the question about smartphones. And a big recommendation that I drew from other volunteers when I met them last September was taking a smartphone that is unlocked is perhaps the safest way to access your bank account information here in the States because you could take an app in that, say, unlocked Samsung S6 or something. And so when you go to that banking town, like Xavier is saying, when you have that better internet and you have that ability to charge your phone, you can click on your app, use some of your data on that SIM card, and then access your bank account or access Facebook Messenger and whatever other resources you want to on the internet. But the key is the unlocked smartphone that has a spot for a SIM card.
Great. Thank you so much, Mariana.
yeah, thank you too, because I don't have any bank account in the US. That's why I'm a little bit taken off guard on that one.
Oh, okay. Gotcha, Kim. So she was just asking in general, just, connectivity to different websites and things like that. Okay. Um,
Yeah.
I wanted Xavier to ask you about housing. Could you just describe briefly, like, what a typical house may look like for an education volunteer?
Okay, for education volunteers, I would say we have uh, like 40 sites. We have about 5 sites where we don't have electricity. But most houses, we don't have running water. PCVs have to rely on local water sources. It can be like public spigot not far from the house, or a well not far from the house. And the house, it's not shared with anyone. It's only the PCV's house. Same for the facilities like the toilets or the outhouse, the shower booth, and typically most of the houses have 2 rooms, but there are houses where you have only 1 room, and houses are located in a very safe neighborhood, and most houses are made of local materials, and some have concrete walls, but not many of those. And it's the same for the roof. It's either made of tin roof or local materials. But I'm not bragging about my own sector, but education houses are nicer compared to agriculture or health houses because you guys will be located usually at a larger site compared to health or agriculture sites.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Melanie has a question about whether if the houses have kitchens or like an area to cook and store food.
Yeah, I would say an area to cook and store food. And about food storage, of course, it's very expensive to get a fridge, but there are ways, and we'll be teaching trainees at PST on how to manage your food supply actually. But for kitchen, each PCV will arrange his or her own, I would say, kitchen space. And all PCVs actually buy a gas stove and a gas tank, which will be, I mean, you'll be able to purchase that from your settling in allowances, but it's not something difficult to get, and which is very practical. Yes, a water filter is among the, I mean, the Peace Corps package that you'll be getting before you get installed. You'll be getting a bike, a sturdy one. It's not one of those Chinese flimsy bikes, and a water filter, a trunk to safeguard your valuable items, and what else? And locks that will be installed on your house. And if you are stationed at a place where you have to take a boat or boats, you'll be provided with a life jacket. And of course, the bike will come with a helmet, which is mandatory. I mean, you have to wear a helmet anytime you ride your bike. And of course, a medical kit that will be provided by the medical officers.
In our last call, we'll have the PC, your medical officer, a doctor that will be on the call who will be able to talk to you about more about the what's in your medical kit and how to stay healthy during your service. So
Yeah.
that'll be.
There's another question from Mallory here. You don't need to bring bike locks. Locks, pumps, and like a small repair kit will be provided with the bike. And you'll get a training on bike maintenance at PST before you get installed.
Great. Well, we only have a couple more minutes left. Do we have any other
I'm not
questions?
tired
You're not
yet.
tired yet?
No.
You're just getting started? I'm sure that some of the invitees may have to go back to work or so. Um,
Okay.
but Let's see. I think we have one person typing.
Hmm.
I can actually take this question, Xavier. In
Okay.
regards to your the weight limit in regards with your luggage, yes. So you can have two bags, each weighing 50 pounds each. You do have a 100-pound limit, and you can have a carry-on. Keep in mind if you do bring something like an instrument, like a guitar, that would have to be, it is considered a luggage. So, or like a bag and cannot be a carry-on. So just keep that in mind when you're packing. One suggestion is that you want to bring clothes for at least 3 months. And majority, and correct me if I'm wrong, Xavier, once they get into their sites, they'll be able to like go shopping in their towns as they go shopping in their towns for more clothes if they need it. You're not packing for 2 years, so just enough clothes that will take you through your pre-service training. Definitely some your personal items, and meds that you'll need for the first 3 months. Those are the things that are really essential. You definitely want to pack some nice clothing for different. Times where you may have some professional meetings that you may need to go to. You are going to have a swearing in if you become a volunteer, so you would want to have some nice dress shoes. So just keep those in mind as you pack and prepare for service.
Okay. Yes, you're right. But during training, PST, the schedules are pretty tight.
Hmm.
But before installation, right before swearing in, you guys, you'll get about a full day to do some more shopping to get ready for your site. But don't have that, I would say, uh, don't get into that temptation to hoard things because you are concerned, but wait and assess. But I hope the current PCVs in Madagascar sent you guys the list of the things you really need at PST and for the first few weeks at site.
Correct. Yeah, they have, and a lot of the invitees right now are on the Facebook group that and have been interacting with current volunteers, and so just kind of getting more of an understanding of what to bring. Yeah.
Okay, PST, there's one question about homestays at PST. At PST, you'll be staying with host families during the first 4 months of PST. And then you go back, no, you go on site visit for a little less than 2 weeks, and then you'll go back to your host family again for 1 week. Then you'll be staying at the center for the rest of the PST.
Great. Thank you. To respond to the Jesus's question about will you receive a letter from staging? Yes, you'll get that 30 days before your departure. Your staging date is June 11th, and you'll be staging in Philadelphia. But you will get instructions on how to book your travel to Philadelphia 30 days before your departure. So in the next couple, early
Hmm.
next month.
Uh-huh. And Lisa is asking a question about the blackboards. Don't bring paint that's too heavy. Blackboard paint is easily available in country.
Alrighty. It is 11 o'clock. Melanie, I just posted the Facebook link. And for all of you who are not a part of it, it is a great way to interact with current volunteers and just get some really on the spot answers to like packing and what it's going to be like. And they can offer some really good advice as to how to prepare for your service. Just keep in mind, as a reminder, please complete your TEFL modules on time. We really are hoping that you are preparing. As you prepare, you also are completing all of those tasks that we have kind of thrown at you. But we do really, again, appreciate your patience with this whole process and completing your task on time. Staging is June 11th in Philadelphia, and again, you will receive more information about that in the next couple of weeks. Zaved, any closing remarks?
Well, just I'd like to ask people to keep in mind that if 20 generations of education volunteers made it out here successfully, why can't you do that? So don't think about all the challenges. There are more good things, great things you can achieve in Madagascar, despite of the few concerns you might have. And it's normal to have concerns, but believe me, it's gonna be a great experience of your life. And we are here to welcome you first and to support you. And the purpose, the ultimate goal of the pre-service training is to help you get ready for the service. It's not like putting you in a T-strainer. It's we'd like to have the same number we have at the airport at the end of PST. So be ready and looking forward to meeting with you guys.
Great. Thank you so much. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to send me an email at madagascar@peacecorps.gov. Yeah, and I also monitor the Facebook page as well. So keep the questions coming. I look forward to meeting you all in June. Thank you so much for joining the call. And I will send out the link to it in the next couple of days. Thank you so much, Xavier, for all of the information you provided. And please greet everyone in Madagascar for me.
Okay, I will. And also for all the people who participate, don't hesitate to send an email to me or discuss with me, ask questions. You won't be bugging me by doing so.
Thank you. That's good.
Okay.
Good to know. Thank you. Bye,
Okay.
everyone. Have a
Thank
great
you.
day.
Bye. Viluma.
Your email. I will send it out in a link in the next email that I send to you all.
Okay. Thank you, Naj.
Okay. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you, Mariana.
Thank you so much, Xavier. Have a good evening. De Veluma.
Okay, same to you. Viluma. Mandrapiona.
Tadia Robaina.
Okay.
Bye.